This is By the Numbers, a podcast brought to you by the University of South Alabama's Mitchell College of Business. Welcome to By the Numbers. I'm Dionne Castor. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Mitchell College of Business. And today we have Jeff Marcus, who is the chair of the Melton Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation Advisory Board here at the Mitchell College of Business. He is also a serial entrepreneur, as I'm told. He has run a $3 billion healthcare corporation in the Silicon Valley, and he's also a graduate of University of South Alabama. So he's all kinds of things. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to hand over this podcast to these guys. We have Shane Monagle and Brylan Shirley. They're both Mitchell College of Business MBA students, and they're going to take it over. Here you go, guys.
Yeah, good morning, and welcome to By the Numbers podcast from me, Brylan.
And me, Shane.
Jeff, it is great to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
We're super excited to get into this with you. We've talked previously, and you have a very large variety of awesome stories to tell us today. To get started, could you just tell us a little bit about your early life and your upbringing and how all of this kind of led you into entrepreneurship?
Great question. Well, my father was an Air Force fighter pilot, and so as a kid, we moved around basically every 2 to 3 years to a different city, different location, different state. So it was a very interesting upbringing because that taught me how to get along with people, how to meet people,
adapt and change.
How to adapt,
yep.
Right? Because I don't know about you, Brylan, but or you, Shane, but if you guys may have friends that you knew from kindergarten. Mm-hmm. I don't have that because I've moved every 2 to 3 years. So, but it aided me in my professional career corporately and as an entrepreneur. So that's a little bit about how I started and what my background is. I then left home after high school and came to the University of South Alabama, and back in 1977.
Where was home originally?
Well, as a military brat, you have no home originally.
Where'd you come from?
Right. The last duty station was Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi.
Oh, okay. So not too far.
Not too far. That's why I stayed close enough where my mother could still do my laundry. So as you guys know,
I need that about right now.
Right. So I didn't go too far from home, but I knew I wanted to leave home. At that point. So
similar situation for me. I mean, I'm from Tuscaloosa.
There you go.
And I didn't want to go to the University of Alabama because obviously South Alabama is way better. I mean.
Oh, that's a great comment.
Yeah. Did everyone hear that?
The president did.
But it was great to just get a little bit away from home. That way, I can still come back and see my family. I have a younger sister, younger brother. Still get to hang out with them, but completely understand that.
Yeah, it was a good scenario for us.
Yeah.
And then I met my wife here. She was a student also, and when we graduated, we endeavored on our careers. So
that's awesome. Yeah. You said she did psychology. Is that correct?
She did childhood education.
Okay. Yeah. That's right.
I did psychology.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, she has a master's degree in a very interesting element of handicapped children.
Yes.
So.
And what brought you into psychology?
What brought me to psychology?
Yeah, as opposed to having an entrepreneurial mindset.
I just found so I started out in chemistry, biology, and psychology, and I wanted to go to medical school, and that was before I met Tony, my wife. And we decided that we would like to get married instead of, when we graduated, instead of spending another 8 to 12 years in school.
Yeah.
And psychology came very easy to me because of what we talked about a minute ago, the ability to learn people, get along with people. But I stayed in the science realm of things. I was a scientist my whole career and studied science and never had a business course in college until I did a program at Stanford out in Palo Alto, and very late in my career. And So all of my business training was OJT, on the job training.
Yep.
No formal business training, but it came naturally to me. So psychology came naturally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So to answer your question.
So then you kind of just got into the entrepreneurship route after you got your degree. So, you didn't do business, but obviously you had that spark in you.
Well, so, right. And it's interesting you bring the spark up because I mentored a student yesterday from South, kind of it just happened to happen. And he's a right brain, left brain guy.
Yeah.
He's got the creative right brain, and
Yeah.
he's got the science left brain, which is how I describe myself.
Yeah.
And
It's a powerful combination for
right,
sure.
right. And but yet his major and his minor are both in left brain things
Yeah.
at South. And we had a long discussion about the fact that later on in his life, he might not be as happy as he could be if he ventured down some preparation on the right brain side.
Yeah,
and he's real creative. You know who he is, Brylan, because he was at the competition.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Who was it? Do you remember his name or what he looks like?
Yeah, Michael.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, redhead young man, very very
Yes.
nice young man.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
So
Yeah, he did the maybe the shelf life.
they did the shelf
yeah,
life
shelf
thing.
life. That was very cool.
He was the finance.
I
guy.
think they won. They got first
They
place
won.
in the
they
business
won in
fair
the business
competition.
fair.
Yeah,
That's right.
He's an awesome
You know
idea.
exactly who he is.
Yes, yes.
So I ran into him, and so we started talking about this because he's a finance major and a math minor, which, in my opinion, is a great way to go, but it doesn't address his right brain
Yeah, it's creativity.
because he's got 2 or 3 great entrepreneurial ideas, one you
Yep.
just mentioned.
Yep.
So we're going to continue our discussions down that path. But I think that the combination of a right brain, left brain person is what leads people into entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have a pretty high level of creativity just to come up with your own ideas and think for yourself.
Exactly.
And then you have to have the left brain to be able to facilitate the creative
Yeah,
ideas
follow
that
it
you
And
have.
develop it.
Yeah.
Right. And do the
Yeah.
finance part of it and do the science part of it if there's science involved.
Yeah.
It's like the optimistic side and the realist side, and they combine
Yeah,
together, and
yeah.
you get
Correct.
Something
Correct.
real
business
awesome.
on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said that you were mentoring him yesterday. Thinking back to whenever you were in college and maybe a little bit afterwards, once you kind of got into your entrepreneurship ventures, did you have any mentors that really helped, jumpstart your entrepreneurship journey, or was this kind of just something you did all on your own?
That's a great question, and the answer is I had no formal mentorships. Not because I didn't want any. I don't think back in those days, mentorships were not as prominent or as available, I guess, for lack of a better terminology. It's interesting. When I was here, I had a humanities professor here at South, and I came up with an idea, and it was not the first idea I came up with, but it was an idea that I thought would do really well. And it was during the gas crisis for petroleum. And every time I got gas in my car, when you pull the nozzle out of the gas tank, you'd lose an ounce or 2 of gasoline.
Yeah, it
and
drips
I thought
all out on the ground.
I thought if you multiply that ounce or 2 of gasoline across the world,
Every single person that's
ever gotten gas,
4 or 5 drops.
right,
I mean, shoot.
right. And so I thought I could develop a device that would contain the gas in the nozzle,
Yeah.
and it would go in the next car. So I came up with this idea, and I approached a humanities professor that I had here at South about it, and he basically said it was a crappy idea and don't move it forward. So
What the heck?
To your point, I searched out a mentor.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the answer that I got, which is the other part of entrepreneurialism.
Yeah.
You gotta continue.
Yeah, sometimes
to
you
go
just have
forward.
to go out on a limb.
Yeah.
Hope it doesn't break. Yeah.
And then life got in the way, and marriage got in the way, and kids got in the way, and I never developed it. But I still think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So
It is
we should develop
cool
it. The
idea.
three of us should develop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's get on it.
But yeah. But anyhow, so no real mentors.
No big time mentors.
I'll tell you what, though, when I moved to the Silicon Valley, that's the mecca of startups. And the mecca of creativity. And it's the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, I would love to get into that. So what originally brought you to Silicon Valley? I mean, I know it is the absolute, cornerstone for startup, companies. Artificial intelligence right now,
AI is
going
huge.
crazy in Silicon Valley. So what originally brought you there? How'd you get there?
So I've had 2 jobs, official jobs, non-entrepreneurship jobs in my life, both in healthcare. One lasted 16 years, and the other, the last one lasted for 17 years.
Okay.
The last company that I worked for was in the Valley. So I was able to work remotely.
Was it like a new startup company?
Let me give you a little background. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah.
The company is it's now been sold, was called Varian Medical Systems. And Varian was the oldest startup in the Valley.
Oh, wow.
It started in 1928
Holy moly.
on Stanford's campus, Stanford University, and Hewlett and Packard, their headquarters, Hewlett Packard's headquarters is right next to Varian's headquarters on Stanford campus out in Palo Alto.
Yeah.
And there were 2 Varian brothers. One was a Pan Am pilot. One was a PhD physicist at Stanford. And the Pan Am pilot said to his brother, when I'm flying in bad weather, I can't see the ground, and I can't see other airplanes if they're in the air. So the physics brother developed a product called a Rhombatron oscillator, which was radar. So Varian invented, their first product was radar.
Oh my gosh.
And this is in 1928. They invented radar, or somewhere near there. They invented radar, and that fostered the company called Varian Associates. And Varian Associates, up until 3 years ago, still existed, and it was sold to, they sold to Siemens, the big German corporate conglomerate. Of course, I left there I retired 12 years ago from Varian. But Varian invented, when I left, they had 22,000 patents.
Oh my gosh.
It was a science company.
Yeah.
They invented MR scanners. Have you ever had an MRI?
Yeah. Yes.
We invented that. Have you ever had a CT?
Yes.
We invented that. Have you ever had an ultrasound?
Yeah.
We invented that. So Varian was a very, very cool
insane.
science company. So that's how I ended up in the Valley.
And so what did you do there at Varian?
So I was, when I ended my career, it was a $3 billion corporation. Sorry, $3 billion corporation. I ran $2 billion of their business. I was a senior vice president, general manager for a number of their businesses. And ran $2 billion of the $3 billion. So it was a great experience. Keep in mind, without any business courses.
They're like,
So
how did you even get into that with a psychology background?
it's
People skills you get to.
OJT, on the job training. The first 16 years of medical device training led me to the next 17 years of Varian.
Okay, yeah. Wow.
So that's how that came about. But the Valley, listen, there's nothing like it. It is weird. It is strange. It is crazy. It is stressful. But you'll never learn more about business than being in the Silicon Valley.
But I feel like there's actually no business people there. It's all science people.
It's amazing.
Like there's
just a bunch of innovators. I mean,
there's
tons of
2
innovators.
Irish guys. When I first heard about the Silicon Valley, there's 2 young Irish guys. We do a competition in Ireland every year in school called the Young Scientist Award. And there's 2 brothers. They did it, and they won that when they were younger for different things. They went on to do coding, and they invented a company called Stripe. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Oh, yeah, I know Stripe, sure.
Yeah, the 2 youngest billionaires ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, two Irish guys.
Isn't that a remote?
Pretty much. Maybe every payment online goes
through Stripe.
So by before they were age 30, 2 guys were billionaires, but they were scientists. They weren't business people.
What the heck?
Yeah,
That's something. I'll tell you one other story that I think you'll relate to that's kind of neat. In the Valley, we started I had a startup with a Stanford student, and we called it Vita Peeps. Vita meaning lifelong,
Yeah.
Peeps meaning friends.
Okay.
So it stood for lifelong friends. And we started to pursue it and started to develop it and hired software designers. And the whole idea was my partner in this was from Africa. And he didn't know other people. He was from Nigeria, didn't know other Nigerians in the valley. So he thought, how can we develop a product that he could link him with other people from Nigeria?
Yeah.
Or if you're from Ireland and you move to the valley or any other city, how can you link up with other people
Yeah.
from Ireland, right?
Yeah.
So we came up with this product called Vita Peeps. It was a terrible failure. And in entrepreneurship, there are failures
Yes,
and there are successes. Do you know why it was a failure?
Why?
Some guy named Mark Zuckerberg started a product called Facebook.
I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
well-
You heard of Facebook?
Might have.
Yeah. Well, they were next door to Varian. Facebook's first headquarters was
Oh
next
my
door to my
gosh.
Varian office. So we couldn't compete.
Like, who is this big
And that-
four-headed dude over here?
And that's what they did. That's what Facebook started out as a way in which to communicate with
yeah.
friends but nobody ever heard of Facebook up until then. So we shut it down. My point being, you can have early ideas in entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
but don't ever count your chickens before they're hatched because Zuckerberg, he brought Facebook to where it
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
So-
Who knows someone else isn't pursuing that same exact idea.
But
and
that's
then-
what you get in the Silicon Valley. You
Yeah.
get those Zuckerbergs and the Google guys, Sergey Brin and,
Yeah, you
and
never know.
Larry
who's gonna
Page. You
walk
never
in
know.
the next day.
You never know. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's more than kind of cool. I want to go.
You should go. It's very nice.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Very fun.
It's like Wall Street, but for entrepreneurs.
It's way more. There's more. So the word there's more money in the valley than there is on Wall Street.
Oh yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
there's trillions. There's one road called Sand Hill Road, and it's where all the VCs, all the venture capitalists reside.
Yeah.
At any time, there's trillions of dollars
Gosh.
on that road. It's just an amazing. The whole
Yeah.
economy thing is crazy out there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyhow, enough about the valley.
So once you left the valley, did you come back here to
Yeah.
Mobile? And is that whenever you started your most recent company, the Urban Farms?
Well, so no, came back here, retired 12 years ago. Yeah, 12 years ago, moved back here because my wife's from Mobile, and I grew up in Biloxi, my dad's last duty station, and we had aging parents, and so
Yeah.
we came back here to
Had
take
to
care
take
of our
care of
parents.
them, yeah, for
So we're
sure.
down. So we've lost 3. We're down to 1, and came back here, became chairman of the board of the Mobile Arts Council. My wife and I collect fine art,
Oh yeah.
and
You said you also collect cars,
I
right?
collect cars. Yeah, fine. I'm a collector. I collect all kinds of stuff. So we collect fine art. So I became chairman of the board of the Mobile Arts Council, and that was I think that lasted 6 years, and I kind of put some of the entrepreneurship on the side at that point. And but then when I got out of that and got involved here
Yeah.
with the Melton Center, I got back into the entrepreneurship thinking, and we started. I'm a co-founder of a startup called ShipShape Urban Farms, which we figured out how to take a 40-foot shipping container
Yeah.
and turn it into at that point, it was a 5.5 acre farm, growing everything inside hydroponically and developing a software that could control every aspect of a plant's growing cycle, from oxygen content in the air, nitrogen content in the air,
Wow. And this is all inside of a shipping container.
all
You
inside
can
of a self-contained shipping
control
container.
all of
Everything.
like the entire
From your-
climate of
from your
the-
phone. From your phone.
Wow.
Heating, air, humidity, everything. And
Holy
the
moly.
reason I got involved in it was because I saw great need for it in areas that are called food deserts. A food desert is an area where people that live there don't have fresh food
Yeah, the
within
land
1
is
mile. Within
like
1
barren
mile.
land.
Well, not just barren land, but they have no grocery stores. They have
Oh,
nothing.
okay, yeah.
So what would happen is these people that live in these areas, these food deserts, and Mobile is probably 50% food desert.
Really?
Yeah. So they'd get on their bike or they'd walk to the nearest Dollar General store or 7-Eleven, and they would buy a candy bar, and that's their nutrition for the whole day.
Gosh.
Well, the concept was we could drop these containers in food deserts. The local people that are suffering from high rates of diabetes,
Yep.
high rates of heart disease because of diets.
Yeah, they don't have any healthy
They have
options.
no healthy options, and the South has the highest incidence of both of those diseases.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
And those people could grow what's inside of that container and run it and harvest it and distribute it for free.
Yep.
In those areas. So that's kind of why I got involved,
So it'd be
and
like-
that's how I
Yeah. So it's like government contracts more, so you're kind of appealing to local communities, and then they.
Well, yeah. Well, government. Did you say government contracts?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Also, because these containers can be dropped into military zones. For example, the other reason I got involved was the bad guys. When we go to war or battle somewhere in the world,
Yeah.
the first thing they do is they cut off our supply lines because hungry troops don't make good troops.
They don't fight very well, no.
So they would cut off the supply lines. Well, if we could drop in some
Yeah.
of these containers,
Drop a shipping container right there.
right,
at the
right
little
there,
base. I
right,
mean, yeah.
right there, and so there's lots of good aspects to this. This element. Just recently, the company has sent seeds into outer space to see how that atmosphere affects
Yeah.
the growing of vegetables in outer space.
So, I mean, the containers, I'm sure they're sealed, I mean, very well, because if you can control the climate,
They're
you can't
water-
really have much
watertight,
air
yeah.
come through. So
Right.
I imagine it would work there on, I don't know, on a
because
different planet, but
It may, but this is not. It may be in a container, or it may not. It
Yeah.
may just be how do they grow? Period.
Yeah.
In greenhouses in outer space. I mean, who knows? So I am. I've stepped aside actually about 2 years ago, and even though I'm a founder and I'm a major shareholder,
yeah, for sure.
The company is now run out of Birmingham. It was in Mobile, and they're doing some pretty good things. So
Yeah,
that's
it sounds like
shipshape.
it.
Yeah.
I can see if
That's-
that goes well. You could take a trip back to Silicon Valley with Elon Musk and getting the Martian project going.
Yeah,
Well, it's interesting because you mentioned Elon Musk. His brother, I can't remember his brother's name. Anyhow, his brother, after we got involved, he got involved in the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Except he's doing warehouse. He's going into major cities that have thousands of unused warehouse space.
Yeah.
And he's building these hydroponic gardens in warehouse spaces.
Wow.
So it's a little bit different, but
Yeah.
kind of the same.
Yeah, similar concept.
Yeah, he's got a lot more money than we do. So,
For now.
Yeah, he
For
can
now.
just text his brother every now and then.
Sure.
Hey, man, new project
yeah,
going on.
need a couple of billion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
couple million,
Just
couple
spare change.
billion,
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, buddy. I'll get you a Coke as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, with ShipShape and with a lot of your other ventures, it seems that you care a lot about sustainability. And do you know what I mean when I say the triple bottom line?
Mm-hmm.
You know, businesses that focus on the customers, the environment, and the government. Could you just give us a little bit of background on how important sustainability is for companies, especially now that we've kind of shifted into this time where customers are more concerned about that?
So I have 3 grandchildren, and when you talk about sustainability, you to a guy like me who is concerned about what's going to happen in the future
Yeah,
with global warming, etc. And yes, it does exist.
yeah,
Just ask any scientist.
Yes,
but
I've been through all the classes
forget
too.
Yeah, forget the politics that are involved in this. But so sustainability is extremely important to a guy like me that has grandchildren.
Yeah.
Who are going to have children? Who are going to have children?
And
who are
you
going to
want
have children?
you want them to
be
beautiful
able to,
lives,
right?
On a beautiful earth,
right?
Not one that's
right.
Yeah.
So sustainability is very important to me. It's interesting that the one of the reasons why at ShipShape we decided to use shipping containers was they're leased, because you talked about the government and customers and sustainability. They're leased by the shipping companies typically. When the leases are paid off, the shipping companies put them out to pasture and they don't use them anymore. The lease company doesn't want them anymore, and they sit on the countryside stacked up, miles high, just rotting away.
Nothing to do with
right. So repurposing those was part of the whole reason. One of the other reasons why we did ShipShape,
and you could get them for super cheap, I'm sure, if not almost free.
Almost free.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
perfect.
Yeah. So the sustainability piece is very important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very important to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's 100% going to be the future of industry. I mean, you're going to have to find a way to create whatever product you're doing or complete whatever service, in a way that helps the people, the planet, and, society in general.
Absolutely. And, so very important.
And you can tell even from your first invention, your first idea, you're saying with the collecting all the drops from the gas station.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to make the world a better place.
That was in 1978.
So it's very conscientious.
Back
then.
I can't believe nobody's done that yet.
Yeah,
seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, really.
So, but.
And are there any more projects you're kind of currently working on, or you're?
Yeah, you're not going to like the last one since you two are both athletes. Well, maybe you will. So, I've gotten involved in a company that I'm a part owner in. That has developed a system that implements the NIL scenario, name, image, and likeness in athletics. And we've actually come up with it's a marketing company. And we've come up with a way in which to satisfy the brands that are giving the money to the athletes and the schools who don't want to have much to do with the flow of the money to the athletes. So we've developed a marketing company.
It would just be like a direct from the brand to the athlete.
But the brand, yes, the answer is yes. However, the brand wants to be sure that if Shane here got an NIL deal, that he is adding revenue to the brand's bottom line, right?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so how do they do that? How do they measure that? How do they monitor that? How do they know what Shane's doing in this example to promote their brand?
Yeah.
And so we sit in the middle and we do all of that marketing. We produce the videos. We don't physically do it. We have company partners that do it.
Yeah, of course.
And we produce the videos and we produce the marketing information.
Yeah, you track all the data.
We track the data. We do it all.
Tell the brand exactly what each specific athlete is bringing in, and then that way, if someone's underperforming, they're not making, good videos or any videos at all, they can cut the contract, then increase someone else's who's making better videos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's that is rolling pretty well because most major institutions, many of which have already signed, or several of which, I can't say many, depends how you define many, have already signed with us.
Yeah.
And so that's moving right along.
Yeah, I mean, that would be huge for the athletic industry. I mean, we're so early on right now with NIL. Within the next, probably 5 or 10 years, I mean, college is going to be like the NFL and the MLB, in my opinion. Like
it's going to go down to high school level. It already is at high school level.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
It already is at the high school level.
But I mean, you're thinking ahead with this. NIL just came out. What, a year ago?
Couple of
2 years ago?
It's the Wild West right now, too. By the way, your point's a good one. Nobody really kind of knows how to do it or what to do it.
No. But once they figure it out, and like once products like the one that you're investing in and creating,
Right.
I mean, that's going to be a huge help.
Right.
My dad, he owns a med spa in Tuscaloosa, where you can get like laser hair removal.
I don't need that.
Facelift. Laser hair growth.
No, I need that.
I think they have that as well.
No, this is the way God wanted me. So keep
we're
moving.
gonna
Keep
it
moving.
that way. But he signs a lot of the Alabama football players with NIL deals.
Sure.
But he's had several instances where he'll give them a full, whatever med spa day that normally would have cost someone thousands of dollars,
Sure.
but he'll give it to them for free for them to, in turn make posts about the place.
Sure.
And then they end up making one post and then never do anything again. So, yeah, that product would be great for, keeping
Sure.
those athletes honest, keeping them on their toes, and, accountable.
Yeah, and it's a big difference between a small businessman like your dad giving a spa day
Yeah.
to an athlete and an Adidas or a Nike or whoever, paying
Huge
millions
company.
of dollars,
Yes.
millions of dollars, and not getting what they bargained
Yeah.
for.
And what kind of key metrics do you use to track, the revenue generated by the athlete?
Yeah, so I would love to answer that question, but I don't know the answer to that question because, again, in all these things, I have a lot of the ideas.
Yeah.
I have a lot of the, but I don't, the implementation
nitpicky-
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't do. One thing we do, however, is we will say, Brylan did, we produced 4 videos, over the last 3 months, and on social media, they were downloaded X number. I mean, so we get all that
get all
kind of
that
data.
information, yeah.
Yeah. Which is more than they would have gotten had they not signed that athlete to an NIL deal. The actual production of revenue, I don't know the answer of how we track that.
Yeah.
I presume it's profitable, otherwise companies won't be getting in on it.
Oh, yeah,
gosh.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like graduated affiliate marketing, sort of.
Yeah.
Or athletic affiliate marketing.
Right. And if it didn't work, by the way, if they weren't gaining revenue, then the whole process would fall apart.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, so I'm not quite sure how I feel personally about the whole NIL deal. Is it good or bad? I think it's great for the athlete because you know what? They have been promoting products forever and not getting anything.
Speaking from personal experience, athletes work extremely hard to get into college.
Absolutely.
All throughout high school. If you're going to make it to college to the D1 level where you can, accept these NIL deals, you work your butt off for
That's
your
right.
entire life to get to that point. And then, most athletes don't end up becoming professional, so really they never make any money from all this, endless hard work that they're doing. So, there's definitely downsides, especially when it comes to like bribing and things like that for the transfer portal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I look at it a little different. I look at it from the perspective of if I was an all-star college quarterback, for example, this is just an example, and the reason for my success, yes, I have a great arm.
Yeah.
Yes, I can scramble. But if it wasn't for these 350-pound dudes in the front line
blocking for me,
I'd be toast. Oh, and by the way, these 350-pound dudes are not getting a penny.
No, nothing.
But they're
No one
protecting
even knows
me,
their
and
name.
I'm getting $1 million. What does that do for the offensive linemen? What do they think? Do they think that's not fair? Do they think that does it alter their thinking of how hard to play? I don't know the answer, but it's definitely a problem to ponder. I think
that's a very good point.
It
it should be like at restaurants. The bus boy. You have to share the tips.
That's right, and that's what I think.
That's what they
also.
should do.
That's
Really,
what they should do.
That's a good point because no one ever knows the offensive linemen's names, or sometimes
right.
the defensive linemen's
unless they're a standout.
J.J. Watt or something like that.
Unless they're a standout, but typically no, because they're not the promoter that a quarterback or a tight end or would be. So I think it. So I don't know. I just think that it's still developing, and it
Yeah.
may develop into something that, like we just discussed. I don't know.
That is interesting because you see, like in the NFL and college football, when you're playing college football now, most of them are not getting paid, so it's all
That's right.
passion. They're playing for their team.
Yeah.
When you start bringing money and gets involved
Yeah.
in money,
Changes.
it changes everything.
Changes
it really does.
Changes everything.
Yeah, and I mean, like I was saying with the transfer portal, I mean, it's tough for athletes to really have loyalty to their teams anymore because it's just like,
Oh yeah.
you know, say you're at Alabama. Well, I have a real story here. Y'all know, or do you know Isaiah Bond?
I know the name.
He's
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
best wide receiver at
Sure,
Alabama. He
sure.
caught the game-winning
Yeah,
pass
I
at
remember
Auburn.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad had him for an NIL deal. And, you know, obviously he's on some, you know, crazy scholarship at Alabama. I'm sure large amounts of NIL money.
Sure.
Well, the University of Texas reached out to him.
They have lots of money.
Yes. They offered him the same scholarship as Alabama, but on top of that, they would buy him an orange Lamborghini.
I wouldn't get orange, but
This man,
yeah,
well, you know, it's Texas.
that's
so.
something. Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
things like that, you know, like he's the best wide receiver. You know, normally someone like that would stay, like build the loyalty within the team. But like, well, now you can just get a Lamborghini to go somewhere else. And he's like, all right, well, you know, screw you guys.
I hear
I'm
you.
going somewhere else. So
Yeah, yeah.
it kind of
In the
kinda
past,
does ruin the
past,
game in a
the
sense.
past, they would stay to their 4 years to be coached by a Nick Saban, so that their odds of becoming pro
way higher. Yeah.
way higher, right? But now it's not that anymore. Like you say, the transfer portal, it's whatever you can get.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if it's good or bad. It's too early in this.
Well,
but
either way, I mean, the project that you're working on
yeah,
is a great idea, and it's going to be extremely, you know, helpful for these brands
Yeah.
and for the athletes later on. So,
well, helpful's one thing, profitable is another. We're
Yeah.
looking for profit.
yeah, true.
The planet and
I think it
profit.
will be.
Yeah, I know. I think it already has actually done okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't
Well,
complain.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that kind of updates you guys on the two diametrically opposed projects.
Yeah.
That I've got from
Completely
fresh
different.
vegetables to NIL.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the way my brain works.
The life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
never know what the heck.
That's true.
You're just trying to go to sleep at night. and it's like,
Oh,
oh
my
no,
God.
I have another idea.
Sleep? What is sleep? Your brain's constantly turning.
Where's my notebook?
Oh gosh.
I was actually going to ask, how do you come up with your innovations? Is it more of you're looking at the problem, or it just comes to you like in
No.
a dream if you do sleep at all?
It's usually solving a problem. I mean, it's kind of like the story I told you about Vita Peeps before Facebook got involved. It was solving a problem. The gas nozzle issue solved a problem that I saw, wasting of fuel when gas prices were through the roof already.
Yep.
The NIL thing is it solves a problem, but it's kind of like I'm not real well versed in.
No one is. I mean,
Well, but see, my partner in this project is a very, very prominent, well-known ex-college football coach for years and years and years, and he coached many of these Hall of Fame athletes, et cetera, at many major schools, which I won't mention. But so it's kind of networking too. He came to me with this problem on the NIL stuff.
yeah.
You know, how can we handle this? The people I coached are complaining. They're wondering. They work for Nike. They work for whoever. And how
They're having this
do we
big
solve this problem? But it wasn't my idea.
Yeah.
Just to clarify. So it actually started out as
Either ways.
a gaming company. We were going to develop long story short, a gaming scenario, and we decided to pivot in the sense of a real true entrepreneur, and help solve the NIL issue or make money off it.
Cool.
So yeah.
Was it going to be like some kind of gaming competition company or like a new video game?
No, it wasn't going to be. We weren't going to develop anything. We were going to market and promote new gaming, and so we had deals with Nintendo and all the major companies,
Cool.
and The problem was none of the similar companies in that space were making any money. So it doesn't.
They're like,
it,
all right, yeah.
It's like, come on, we can do this. We can do it better, but
Is this something we really want to put all our time and money into?
nobody's willing to pay for it. So we pivoted.
Yeah,
And,
good idea.
Yeah, so that's what we learned, right?
Yeah, adapt and overcome.
Yeah.
Exactly. And going looking at student entrepreneurship, so based on your experience as being a judge in the last coastal pitch competition, which was fantastic. I was actually sitting
that
on
was
all
awesome.
all the pitches. What qualities do you look for in a student entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a great question. Student entrepreneurs, a couple of things. One, will they listen? Will they take advice? Will they listen? Or are they so into their own idea that they came up with that they have blinders on?
Yeah, they just shut everything out.
They shut everything out, and then it's kind of like, from my mind, when after the judges, after the competition, and we go and we sit and we decide who we like the best and the criteria and all that kind of stuff. In my mind, it's always, who was most likely to listen to our feedback and pivot and make changes based on our feedback. So from the student entrepreneur perspective, I look at the idea. What is it solving? What problem is it solving? Is it solving a problem? How implementable is it? In other words,
is it possible?
Is it, like for example, what you showed me, Brylan? It was a great. It is a great idea. It is. And I'm not sure how it addresses the sustainability perspective, which I'll ask you offline about that. But But it's a great idea. It's marketable. You can focus a lot of your time on that once you get out of school. You're willing to listen to suggestions from mentors.
Yes, sir.
And so that's what I look for. Not somebody that is, I'm doing this, I know it's the right thing to do.
Anybody.
I'm not you. Who are you to tell me what I should do? And by the way, if that's the way they feel, I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm
It's
fine.
just like I'm not
I got
really
more
gonna,
time to.
yeah.
I can.
Not going to
plenty
try to
more
help
people
you.
to-
Yeah.
You're not even asking for help.
Right.
I mean,
Plenty of more people to talk with. And
You're
try
just
to
gonna
help.
ignore.
Right. Right. So anyhow, that's what I look for.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Interesting,
mean,
Pitch competitions.
that makes sense. And really, I mean, people who are very closed-minded and have those blinders on. Whenever a guy like you that has been extremely successful in entrepreneurship, that's the time you take the blinders off and listen. Really.
Well, that's the smart thing to do.
You
Isn't
can
it?
only know so much as a 20-year-old.
Well, and in my case, you can only know so much as a 65-year-old. No,
Yeah.
I listen to everybody.
I do
I'll
too.
Anybody wants to give me feedback, buddy, I am open.
I might not even know who you are.
I am open.
You might actually be a dummy, but I will listen. And if it sounds good, if it makes sense, then
Sure.
I'm writing it
Absolutely.
down.
Take it on board,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter if you're a homeless person. I mean,
That's right.
I'll write it down if it's good advice.
And by the way, you may not use that advice today, but 10 years from now, you may.
You never know, yeah.
You never know.
Exactly.
just absorb as much as you can
Yep.
and try to avoid, the negative stuff, obviously.
And don't be afraid to fail. That's the other
Yeah.
key point I want you guys to understand is not every idea is going to be a success. And you have to learn from your failures. And, if you don't learn from your failures, you're kind of really not a good entrepreneur. Because you're going to end up wasting all your money. Because have you ever looked up the definition of an entrepreneur? It's somebody that has a great idea, wants to implement the idea, and is willing to fund it themselves.
Yeah.
And put all of their effort
Time,
and
effort, money
into
yeah.
it. And if you fail and you don't learn from it, you're just going to do that again.
Yep.
So
Or never try again.
or never
Get
there you go.
discouraged and never
That's
try
right.
again. And
That's
that's
right.
the worst.
That's right. Because you don't stimulate that right brain, which is
Yeah.
what we talked about in the beginning here. So
It's a very good
good question.
Interesting. So,
Yeah, really.
Following up on that, then, how do you think universities can foster students getting into startups and entrepreneurship better? Such as the Melton Center, that's like such a good way.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dr. Capella, our new dean, he's going full on with a whole new entrepreneurship program. I don't know if you've been.
Oh, I
in
know
on
Michael.
that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me. I actually interviewed him and gave my approval before they hired him.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
no, he is.
Super excited about this.
He is a breath of fresh air
For sure.
to this program. And I honestly believe I would not have stayed 7 years as the chairman of this board if I didn't think that the people running the Melton Center had the right makeup to make it successful. And we are turning the corner. Dionne was at the last board meeting, and I made a presentation in the beginning to kick it off. And I said, we've had several inflection points over the last 7 years at the Melton Center. And we are at an inflection point right now with the new dean, with new funding that we have acquired. And we are at a point where this program, I believe, is going to start to take off.
It's about to skyrocket.
Significantly over the next 5 years. You'll be out.
Yep. It's exciting to be here at the beginning,
right?
Because I see it as well.
Totally. And 7 years ago, when I took this role, when they asked me to take this role, we sat in a classroom upstairs. There were 5 of us, and I said to Dr. Mosley, he said, "Well, what do we need to do?" And I said, "We need to find out something that we are really, really, really good at, and focus on that one thing." And that program became the Build a Bridge program.
Yes.
And the minority business program, and they've taken off like crazy.
They have. The Build a Bridge program this year was
amazing,
absolutely awesome.
Amazing. Those kids were unbelievable.
I had the honor to speak for one of the how to come up with a business idea portions.
Excellent.
It's one of the coolest things I've ever done, and I mean, all the students were so engaged.
Oh, they're bright. They are so bright.
I mean. In one day, these students, I mean, they really came up with some awesome business ideas. Like, it was really impressive.
I don't care,
to see.
in all honesty, Brylan, I don't care if it's buying a lawnmower and cutting grass. That's an entrepreneur in the making. I don't care.
Make money on your own without having to rely on someone else.
Right. So anyhow, I think this particular program is going to do and continue to do extremely well. And I think we're working with a gentleman who runs a angel investment network that the new dean brought in. And he has a group of investors / friends that are going to act as mentors. So what can a university do? You asked me about did I have any mentors, and I told you my horror story about the one I tried to recruit. That goes away because we have mentors. I'm a mentor. You guys can be mentors. Nobody says you can't be a graduate student and not be a mentor.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys could do that. So that's what universities need to do is promote entrepreneurship, promote creativity, and provide the resources needed for folks, young or old, to develop an idea. Nobody said, by the way, that the Melton Center can only deal with student-age people. If an adult came in with an idea, we'd work with that adult.
Help them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. So,
and I think entrepreneurship is extremely important right now for sure because, I mean, for a while, I'd say school was more tailored towards, building working class individuals to go and get jobs for other entrepreneurs.
Sure.
But eventually we're going to get to a point where we've run out of entrepreneurs and we just have a bunch of workers mainly. So I think it's extremely important that we also really focus on fostering strong entrepreneurship.
Yep. And all you have to do is look at what happened historically in 19 when COVID hit. And literally universities shut down. A lot of people decided, I don't want to work for anybody. I want to start my own business. I'm not going to go through this again where my employer tells me what to do, whatever it was.
Or, you just completely get kicked out of your job and you're out with nothing. You have no clue how to make money now.
Right.
who knows?
Who knows
what
what-
could really happen?
That's
Like,
right,
If this
exactly.
would have continued, no one gets their jobs back, then everybody's
it prompted,
just stuck.
COVID increased the level of interest in entrepreneurship for sure. We know
lot.
that.
I mean,
we know
tenfold.
that we know it
Yeah.
here because of the student counts are just now starting to come back.
Yep.
And so, one of the reasons why I got involved in doing my own thing was, I didn't want to be necessarily accountable to everybody my whole life. Didn't want to do it. And I just still don't want to do it.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, so that's that. But that's a great question. That's what
Yeah,
the schools
It's
can
interesting.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The schools can do.
Again, I am very excited for, what our business, what MCOB's turning into, the whole entrepreneurship major that is going to be released hopefully by next
I
year.
hope.
I know Dr. Nelson is working hard on that. I've been helping him out with his syllabus, and we've been going through, talking about what each topic should be, down to that. And it's going to be a really exciting course. So, anyone listening that's interested in entrepreneurship, totally.
By the way,
when
let me add one other point too. It's not just Michael Capella, but it's the new president of the university is very much into entrepreneurship. He
Joe
and I,
Bonner.
yep, Joe Bonner. He and I have had several discussions about it, and he's all aboard. He's all aboard with it. So it's not just at the highest level of the business college; it's at the highest level of the university,
Campus-wide.
great.
which
Yeah.
is super exciting.
That was something really interesting too about the coastal business competition that we just had a few weeks ago. It wasn't something that only MCOB students were invited to. I mean, I was doing the
right.
advertising for it. We wanted everyone. It didn't matter if you were a graduate student, didn't matter if you were in medical school,
Cross-campus.
nursing school. I mean, you could be anything. An art major, didn't matter. We want everyone because anyone could be.
And the guy who
entrepreneur.
won, the guy who won was an engineer.
Yeah, he was a
I think
computer engineering
Yeah,
guy.
that's right.
Yes.
3D printing.
School of Computing was he? In second place was School of Engineering.
Yes.
And in third
yes.
place was School of Business, and he did
Yep.
do better
Yes.
next year. But still, it was really.
Oh, it's
impressive
been
to
a
see.
goal of ours for years. Ours being the management here
Yeah.
with Dr. Mosley and Dr. Nelson. It's been a goal of ours to figure out how to reach across campus.
Yeah, bring in more people.
Oh, man, yeah.
We had an awesome spread. I'd have to
Great
show you
turnout.
guys the chart, with all the people that signed up. But basically, it was a pie chart. There was probably 10 different categories
Nice,
of different
nice.
students on there. That pie chart was like a rainbow. I mean, we had people from everywhere. We had allied health. We had psychology majors. We had art majors. We had science majors. I mean, it was just,
So here's the
we
next
had a
frontier.
little bit of everything.
Here's the next frontier. How do we get some professors that have great ideas to compete?
Were you there when the university cop showed up to the tabling event?
I was not. No,
I don't think you were there.
What happened?
So I was doing tabling where basically I just sat at a table like this and I had little signs that, I was inviting people to join the competition. And a USA police officer came up and he's like, "Hey man, what is this? What's going on with this?" And, I explained it was kind of like the show Shark Tank and how you come with ideas, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Oh, well, you think I could do it or is it for students only?" And I was like, honestly, I think this one's just for students, but that would be so awesome.
Oh, man, yeah.
If you could do it. And, I'll ask my boss and see if it's possible. So I gave him a flyer, and then he gave me his phone number. But
Nice.
yeah, it was just for students.
Who knows what his
this time,
idea
but
could be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know how cool that would be? USA cop walks in for the competition. You're like, what the heck?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Well, I think
Faculty,
we should.
staff,
Anybody.
I mean, yeah. Well, I guess kind of moving forward away from all the entrepreneurship and school and everything, it's all very exciting. What do you like to do for your free time? I know.
I have none.
Oh, come on! I know.
I
you
like-
said
I do a
said
lot of
something. You're quite the musician, aren't you?
Yeah, so I put myself through college here playing music in a rock band. We toured all around the East Coast. We had a big bus,
Oh,
and
that's so
we were
cool.
all South students. And so during school we played one-nighters and fraternity gigs and stayed relatively close
Yeah.
to Mobile. But in the summer, we hit the road in the bus, and
Oh my gosh.
it was just a cool experience.
That's
so
the dream, really.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I've been playing drums since I was 7 years old, and I still play regularly. I have a studio in my home.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a band. We get together most Thursday nights and play.
Awesome.
So music's a big part of my life. Again, that's the right brain piece of me.
Yeah. You
But-
gotta
well,
keep that fresh.
So when you deal with the stress related to being an entrepreneur, or the stress related to being in industry like I was, you have to figure out a way to reduce your stress.
Yeah. Find an outlet.
For
really.
me, it was always music. And so I've always been a musician. I will be a musician till the day I die.
Yep.
And and I love it. So I do that a lot. I helped put on we had a festival in Mobile for many years until COVID hit. And it was called South Sounds. And it happened the first weekend in April every year. And two other guys started it, and then I came into it, and we ran it together. We would get 10,000 people
Wow.
in
Downtown?
in downtown
Yeah,
Mobile.
wow.
And the concept was just like South by Southwest in Austin,
Yeah.
where the bars hired the bands. And you had to be, the criteria were, you had to be a new act, you had to be, your city or town had to be in the SEC, so the Southeastern Conference
Yeah.
for football and whatever, and then you could play. And we would get probably 50 or 60 bands in a weekend, rotating through all the bars.
Yeah. Oh
downtown.
my gosh. So
and
you would just show up to any
No, you
any
had to-
different bar, and there would be a
There'd
different
be
live band
Well,
playing.
it would all be publicized. We had a very, very distinct marketing
schedule. Yeah.
and you had to buy entrance. You had to buy
Okay.
a bracelet, a
Yeah.
band. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
band to go in. And it was good for the whole weekend. It was dirt cheap.
Dang.
And the bands, there were some great prizes. We had the Hard Rock in Biloxi. Whatever band won the competition, they would get a contract with the Hard Rock to go
Wow.
tour around the Hard Rocks.
Oh my God.
Had a recording contract
That's serious.
through Jake.
It's like American Idol.
It was a
For your
really,
band.
really, really cool idea. And out of it, we did it I was involved for 10 years until COVID hit.
Yeah.
10 years? Yeah, anyhow. There were two bands that we discovered, actually. One was called St. Paul and the Broken Bones. Have you heard of them?
I don't know. I don't think I have.
So they're out of Birmingham. They're amazing. They played our festival.
Yeah.
2 years later, they opened for the Rolling Stones on their U.S. tour.
What?
And the first place they
What?
played was our festival.
Oh my
So you're really giving
gosh.
opportunities to people to.
And they won.
Make a name.
They won our festival and then opened for the Stones.
And it's
Now
so-
they'll never come back to Mobile. They're too
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah, too big.
And then there's another band called the Alabama Shakes. Have you ever heard of
I
the
have
Alabama
heard of
Shakes?
them.
Yeah, they're super big.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They played at our festival. My point being, music has always been, whether it be the for me, either playing or the business side of music.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
love music.
Yeah.
I collect collect vintage cars also, and supercars.
Dang.
So I have.
Well, yeah. What kind of cars do you have?
You had to ask.
Oh yeah,
Just-
we had to.
I know, just
I have
couple-
I have a Ferrari.
He has an orange Lamborghini as well.
Oh, I have a red. No,
No, he doesn't like
I don't-
orange.
no,
I don't like orange.
I
either.
actually don't like Lamborghinis. I'm a Ferrari guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have a Ferrari.
Better engineering for sure.
Way better. Even though Lambos have come a long way. For all my Lamborghini friends that are going to listen to this, and I have a lot of them. And then I have two other cars since I've had to scale my collection back when I moved from California to here.
Yeah.
I have a 1963 Chevrolet Corvette that's all original. It's the last one, convertible. It's the last one that was built in 1963. It's never been restored. They only built 22.
Dang,
it's
that's
extremely rare.
extremely rare.
It's a beautiful
Wow.
car. And then I have a 1968 Shelby GT500.
Dang.
That's all original. That they only made 43 of.
The Shelby Cobra.
Yeah, well, not
Dang.
that. Not it's a Shelby Mustang.
Okay, yeah.
Not the Cobra.
Yeah, the Cobra's smaller.
But the Mustang. So and so I spend a lot. Well, you can see from the grease from yesterday. I spend a lot of time on my cars
Out there
too.
working on 'em.
Yeah, again, it's stress relief.
Yeah.
It's something I just enjoy doing.
Dang.
So, and we collect art. We collect all kinds of stuff. It's kind of fun. So,
That is very awesome.
yeah,
It's really cool.
I'm sure.
pretty versatile.
I like to do a lot of things.
Yeah, stay busy. That's
Jack
the
of all
key.
trades,
That's
really.
the key. Stay busy.
Yep. Well, that pretty much concludes our list of questions. Thank you so much for coming in today, Jeff.
My pleasure.
Very, very exciting stories here today.
Oh yeah.
And again, we're just super thankful that you were able to come, and we had a great time.
Good. Thank you.
And that'll be it
Good.
for By the Numbers podcast from me, Brylan.
And me, Shane. That's by the numbers number 10 now. So
Number
me,
10?
and me, Jeff.
And me, Jeff. Don't forget about me, Jeff.
of course. Thank you so much, Jeff.
My pleasure.
10 is,
Thank you, guys.
10 is crazy. Oh, yeah, of
Great.
course.
It's awesome.
All
Until
right.
next time.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to By the Numbers, brought to you by the Mitchell College of Business. Stay tuned. There'll be a new episode coming soon.